Broads Media.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Today, it will be very simple, okay? It's the show for the people. It's the show of the people. It's the voice of the people. This will be pretty much you all calling into the Anytime Hotline from the disgrace that was in Dallas, and then I react to you. It's that simple. All right, I'm putting my feet up. I got my Dunkin' cup of coffee right here next to me. Went down and got a French vanilla swirl with cream and sugar. So we're in a good spot mentally. We're in a great spot physically with the caffeine rush that's actually making me shake a lot. And I'll just react to your thoughts. So we'll start the show off today with going to Sean. All right, let's hear from the great Sean. That was me refreshing my page and buying time.
Disgusted, Hunter. That's all I can say. I'm disgusted. I'm embarrassed to be an Eagles fan after these last 2 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, I was hoping, if nothing else, this team would show me something in terms of heart. And Dallas, from the opening whistle of that game, took it right to them. And once again, the Eagles cowered in fear. They did not answer the bell. They were soft as Charmin, and they got their ass handed to them again. And once again, they're going to be laughed at and called frauds. And I think now, to be realistic, we can sit back and say, hey, this is fraudulent. I mean, you know, they haven't given us the energy that we as fans have put in and invested in them.
There's no doubt about it. I watched A.J. Brown get pushed around. Now, I heard Dave Zangaro of NBC Sports Philadelphia bring up that he went back and watched the game again. And when he was watching the smaller details of the position that Nick Sirianni expresses as his, okay, the wide receiving core, he watched A.J. Brown on pick plays, and he watched some of his disaster, his disaster detail focus, which is a part of A.J. Brown that I once loved and I once screamed is amazing. And when he's running routes, he's so precise and he's so clean, and that's why he's able to have that advantage compared to a lot of corners in this league. He's so good at the finer, smaller things, yet in that game, he was unwilling to do anything at all. A.J. Brown did not want to play, and it blows my mind. Now, there's something that still doesn't sit right with me, and it's nothing to do with, well, no, it's something to do with the head coach, but not where I just was with A.J. Brown's details. But with Nick Sirianni and this texting to the media, maybe it does go hand in hand, because maybe the person that texted Derek Gunn happened to be A.J. Brown. If you want to look for a silver lining within where they are now, I do believe that they have gotten out in front of it when asked by the media, what are you thinking? What's going on? Dallas Goedert said, look, it was probably just someone super frustrated, someone super emotional after the game is over. Like, they're not running away from it, trying to hide it, trying to make it something that it's not. This is what happened, and we acknowledge that it happened, and we are going to move forward. There's a lot of different ways this can go. I hate that we're in this position, but I'm saying based off being in this position, I'm going to judge how they handle it. And Sirianni even brought up that it doesn't bother him, and he can't be closed off to criticism. So it's almost as if, okay, hold on a second. There are clearly some of my players. He expresses what? Connection. I am one with you. That sounded weird, but we are one together. You can always talk to me. We'll be okay as long as we communicate. I care about you, the person. You're not just a player. So hearing that, I believe that backs up what Nick Sirianni likes to tell his team and what he likes his message to be. That's a good start. Now, executing it is whatever follows. Now we need to see it actually change, and if he's not closed off and he's willing to hear from his peers, well, then you would think that that means something will start to change and they'll try something new. And I will say that something else Dave Zangaro brought up that I think matters to this is they did try more motion. So let's say we all debated and discussed how there wasn't a lot of motion. The next game, it was at least there at times. You go, okay, let's put the pieces together and see if we could put the timeline together. It makes sense. They are now trying something new. Is there going to be something new against the Seattle Seahawks? Is there going to be something new when you look down the stretch against DeVito, who at this point, I guess I got to say I'm a bit scared of DeVito because him and Brian Daboll right now, it's so funny. It's hysterical. That agent, I cannot get away from the fact that that agent is everywhere today. I turn on the news. There he is. I never turned on the news once in my life, so I just completely lied. But I'm on social media. Bang, there he is. I go to SportsCenter. Bang, there he is. Here's Pat McAfee. Bang, here he is. I look at some sports talk radio up in New York. Bang, there he is. It's like nonstop 24/7. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's sort of where I stand right now on the Nick Sirianni text message front, and take it for what it is. I'm not saying that automatically means it will result in success. I'm just seeing if, okay, we know that Nick Sirianni likes this. This is his personality. This is what he loves. And this is how he handles his team and his locker room. We know what he's all about with his personality. He's backing that up through a time of adversity, and this is how he's handling it. If he did something out of character, then I would be more nervous because it seems like a knee-jerk reaction. It seems like you're going against what you heavily believe in, and you're shifting gears, and I don't know if everyone's going to believe in you because they can smell a fraud. These locker rooms do it all the time. Now, some of it is just poor ownership and dumb decisions when they let some head coaches go. But then there are some other locker rooms that realize in a flash that there is something in this guy that doesn't work, and he won't be here long. And maybe they don't know if Nick Sirianni is willing to adjust his scheme, because to me, it's pretty clear that he is so obsessed with the explosive play that he is now devaluing other parts of the offense, and he's not a very creative, sexy, eye-appealing style of head coach with his offense, so it's very simplistic, and he's asking Jalen Hurts and this core as a wide receivers and playmakers with Dallas Goedert added to the combo to do way too much. It's way too high difficulty of plays every single time, it seems. Okay? All right, let's go back to the phones.
Just imagine a big whiteboard, and it says Super Bowl contenders, and you see the Niners, the Ravens, the Cowboys. You can officially cross the Eagles off that list.
Ooh.
Good team? Probably. Not a Super Bowl contender. This team is not a Super Bowl contender. And it all started, to me, on the first opening drive of the game. For the Eagles, that is. 7-0. You had a nice methodical drive. You get the penalty. But then it's a perfect design run play for Hurts. He picks up about 8 or 9 yards, and he fumbles. And where have we seen that before? He is turning the ball over too much right now. And I love Jalen, but he is. And the theme of the game was just miscues. We could have definitely been in this game, even though we didn't play relatively well. Think of all the drop passes and the 3 fumbles in Cowboys territory.
The Cowboys forced those, though, so it comes back to the want. It comes back to the do you have will? Are you willing to actually work your ass harder than Gilmore after A.J. Brown gets in his face and says, you're old? That to me is a call-out. You can't hold my jock strap. And then he allows Gilmore to rip it out of his hands. It is so fraudulent. On that week, A.J. Brown was fraudulent. There is something to be said about what the Dallas Cowboys did to earn those fumbles. So to me, it's not exactly that they left so much to be desired and it was accidental and they were shooting themselves in the foot. It wasn't really accidental or fluky or nothing. It was straight up they wanted more than you, and they were clearly so much more prepared than you. It hurts. Your point with Hurts is right, though. He is definitely turning the football over every single game. 7 games. The ball is at least touching the carpet. You will not win. Part of why he was so great last year wasn't just about his ability to run. It wasn't just about throwing dots down the sidelines. It wasn't about being the best leader that he could ever be. But it was also because he didn't give the other team the ball. He wouldn't put his defense in horrendous spots. Okay, just wouldn't happen. It was all in control of the Eagles offense. It was all taking control of the ball and making sure it stays in your possession. You can't survive no matter how great your QB is, and he's not playing very well right now. And I just want to make sure that this doesn't get lost in the full big picture of quarterback conversation. He's having a down season right now. There's a lot of variables in that for me. It's poor coaching, it's poor scheme, it's poor play calling, it's all of that. And it's Jalen Hurts isn't playing well either. And it's probably limitation due to where his knee is. I think there's a lot of things happening right now. And I don't even know if the locker room is one currently. I don't know if they're cohesive. You better figure it the hell out. There is a standard here. And I think that's why we're disappointed. We expect more than just some regular season wins. And once again, it's really because of the way it looked. And that matters here. Because when you're playing the best opponents, you fold. Not lose. You crumble. You disappear. You don't even look like you play the same sport. That's where we draw the line. So excuse me for having a standard where you have to show up. God forbid that's the standard. It's not even a knock to say that their standard is extremely high. That's why we're upset with a 10-3 start. Sorry, if that makes me a bad guy, then so be it. Because you'd be surprised how many fans of other teams, like my buddy who's up in Boston, who had the luxury, by the way, of witnessing a career by the name of Tom Brady. So the ball's on this guy as if he knows truly what agony is. But he goes, oh man, I see you bitching. I see you complaining. I see you yelling at the GM. Try being us. Like, oh, dude, yeah, try being you. And it's like, dude, come on, man. First off, I remember, because he played on my hockey team, so we had hockey houses. We'd watch football together on Sundays, the whole team and all. I remember you crying when you guys were 9-2 because you went 9-3 and lost a game to some squad on the road during a Week 14 matchup, and then you go win the Super Bowl and you're clapping in my face in February. So shut your mouth. All right, but seriously, there are a lot out there outside of the New England area that see their team win 4 games every single year, and they try to find ways to justify why we're mad, but they can't. So they're like, dude, you don't understand. It's mayhem out here. It's tough in these streets. And I get it. I really do get it. I'm sorry, though. I can't accept this. So if that hurts your feelings as an outsider that I can't accept it, screw you. Screw you. Someone who will never screw you is my friends over at TickPick. They have the best prices guaranteed. If you're looking to go to a game, check out the Flyers, check out the Sixers. How about go to a concert? You can click the link down below in the description, which gets you $10 off of your purchase of at least $99. So call a loved one. The holidays are coming up. It would be electric to go crush a couple cold ones, maybe take the entire family, go watch a hockey game, go watch Joel Embiid, or even watch the Eagles at a game coming up at the link. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces, and they are so confident about it that they guarantee it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, you get 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credit. And there's also upfront pricing. So no more doing the math in your head to prepare for how much extra you plan on spending on top of the listed price than on other sites, because the price you see on TickPick is the price you'll pay at checkout. Period. End of story. There's no added service fees, hidden fees, or otherwise. Make sure you get yourself to a game today and join the TickPick family. So to summarize that last call, as they are currently playing, I couldn't agree more that they're not a Super Bowl contender. Am I ruling out that they play better football soon? No, I'm not ruling it out. And I know the competition dies down in theory compared to the major gauntlet. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to satisfy me. 4 seconds after the game was over, I claimed pretty arrogantly, it doesn't matter what you do the rest of the way because I'm so broken, and I stand by that. I also stand by knowing that if they just win 3 straight after this, I'll be pretty optimistic at the same time. It's very tough out here in these streets, as I alluded to. Okay, let's take another call.
That was definitely like a terrible watch, but I don't think that this is something that we should expect every week. And I do think that all these bad teams or all these good teams that we were going against, I do think it caught up to them eventually. So I don't know. I'm not too mad. Obviously, I wish we beat the Cowboys, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
I respect your opinion on it, but I disagree. I don't know how you can sit there and say it's not really a big deal. It's a big deal. Now, they may handle the big deal, and they might do an excellent job digging deep and finding something, whatever it is, something that can actually push them forward, and they can create some energy, and they can feel good about themselves again. They're missing swag. What it is, it's a team filled with talent that's missing their confidence. It's not impossible for a veteran bunch to find that confidence again. And maybe it takes beating up on lesser opponents and then working new things into the offense and trying different looks and different designs and bringing in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith if you're Sirianni and Brian Johnson and asking questions. What do you want to do here? What do you want to work with? What do you think that we should do? There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't devalue who you are as a coach. I know it's easy to be stubborn, and that's a lot of the MO of a lot of older gentlemen in this league that once coaches. My way or the highway. I know what I'm doing. Get out of my office, and they kick the door. They don't want to hear anything because they think their beliefs are 1,000% the best. Let's talk. We can learn. I'm not closed off the criticism. I do think Nick Sirianni handled this, but to get back on track with the call, the gauntlet did catch up to them. Yes, that's why the concern was there before the season began. It doesn't make it any easier to digest those efforts. It really was less about how they less about they lost and more about how they lost. Seriously, if they were respectful losses and they look like they could go toe-to-toe with those teams, and I want to see you again, I want another piece of you, I think I could get you. Let's put UFC into it right now, all right? Pretend you're watching a fight. There's 2 guys in the octagon. One goes the distance, 5 rounds. But one fighter, his entire face needs 6,000 stitches. All right, the nose is crooked as hell, missing 4 teeth, and you got dropped 7 times, and you almost got blacked out by a sucker punch. Not a sucker punch, because that makes it seem like it's illegal. Just good square up, solid, right through the eyeball style of punching, like legitimate, clean but decisive win, and you're waiting to see how much of a unanimous decision it was that the one guy won all 3 rounds. Or we see a belt fight, a match for the lightweight belt, okay? And it goes 5 rounds, and this thing is back and forth, and both guys look so determined to win in the 5th round. It's 2-2. Who's going to win that 5th? And you see 2 juggernauts fighting for the belt. That's what I expected. Even if you fell in that match, you say, I want a rematch. All right, I want another one. And you know it's inevitable because I always said CM Punk, because Dana White is smiling ear to ear, and in the press conference, he's discussing how amazing of a fight that is, and it's a no doubt lock that they meet again in about a year at another pay-per-view card. That's what I wanted. I wanted the rest of the world to be hungry for another Eagles-Cowboys matchup in the NFC Championship game, another Eagles-Niners matchup in the NFC Championship game. Now it's sort of like, I don't even know how the Eagles look. That makes me sick. It does. It makes me sick.
How you doing, bros? I'm just really frustrated right now. I mean, the last 2 weeks we've looked like the exact same team, and we And these last 2 weeks, we've looked completely different from how we've looked all year long. And it's like, it's kind of just demoralizing how you go through a transformation like that against two like very good teams. Like in the grand scheme of things, yeah, probably not that big a deal. But I mean, we're coming up on playoffs now. Like we got to get it together. Brian Johnson's got to get it together. We got to the defense has got to get it together. I mean, it's 3 fumbles in a game. I mean, come on, man. I mean, golly, dude. It's frustrating. Just get it together, dude.
The defense on third downs. Get it together. Defense on third downs. How are you that bad? It's so bad. Get off the field. Give us a chance. Give the offense the football so we can try and go get 7. Damn it. I'm sick and tired of it. It's so disgusting. Now, you say at the end of the day, it's probably not a big deal. I think it is, though. I do. I think it is. And I understand your premise. More times than not, I don't put as much stock in 2 games because you can look through a lot of Super Bowl champions and see throughout their regular season, there were probably 3-4 weeks they would like to have back, right? That's just the honest truth. All right, I'm trying to remove the emotions, remove the sadness, and look at it with 1,000% of objectivity. It's not about every week needing to be this insane level of football that never misses a beat. It will unfortunately sneak in. But how many times have we seen their best football? And I'm afraid to say the answer is a lot, which then means their best football is not what we expected their best football to be. You probably did see it. And this is a big deal because I don't know, even when looking at some of those previous Super Bowl contenders, if there was multiple games back-to-back where you failed as miserably as you did and it looked the way you did. Like, for example, I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs. They have winning pedigree. They have this taste test where it's automatic. They're going to be in the AFC Championship game. And they very well may still do that because you never know with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. They don't look right. They don't look right. The Eagles are the NFC version of that. It just doesn't look right. So you can always filter them in, but something ain't right. And those years where Kansas City was champions and they were going to these late runs, I don't know if they ever had sequences that looked so vomit-worthy like we saw against the 49ers and the Cowboys. If there is ever one where you no-showed and looked as bad as they did against the 49ers, well, then the next week against Dallas, there was a response. And the reason I bring that up is what I saw against these 2 last opponents, I cannot believe that it's what we're going through. And I could see this year's Kansas City team lose like that. And I don't look at this Kansas City team as a real threat like in years past. So if the Chiefs went through that the way the Eagles just did, think about what I'd be saying about them. Now, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. Maybe it means nothing, and it was just stupid to bring up that point. But I'm just trying to describe how I would view others dealing with what the Eagles are dealing with. So it is kind of a big deal because these 2 games meant more. If you can't meet such a huge moment, then how can you meet that moment in the playoffs, which will be bigger than that? Those games will be much larger, much more intense. You'd have to work 7 times as hard as you do on a normal week when you actually bring it. Unfortunately, I can't reference last week because you sucked and you decided, no, and nothing eats me more alive than just knowing that, I would go through motion. And then if it was A.J. Brown, think about this, and I have no idea who sent the text. I just imagine that it's a wide receiver who's unhappy. That means if it was him, and I'm not saying it is, but if it was, he didn't play hard at all, and then texted Derek Gunn in the locker room. What does that say? It's bad. Those texts are concerning. That's the first visual and the first sign of a real breakdown. I don't know where it goes. They're saying the right things right now, but it goes a lot farther than just saying the right thing.
Rhodes, apparently tonight, apparently this fucking week they need to put a focus on
ball security with everybody on this fucking team like they're a bunch of Pop Warner fucking players. Keep turning the fucking ball over each time you get a drive going. This shit is just fucking pathetic, man. The offense is a lack of ability to fucking capitalize and finish off drives. It's a huge concern going forward. I can't stand fucking Brian Johnson as a coordinator. Dude makes me want to throw my head through a fucking wall. I don't understand his lack of getting away from the run constantly, his lack of situational play calling, and then you got this side throwing the same old shit out there where they're getting carved up.
The side thing is annoying me now more than ever, but I'm starting to shy away from Brian Johnson. And I mentioned this yesterday, I'm going to say it again. He definitely deserves blame because he's definitely involved with what the offense is. This is a Nick Sirianni problem. Do not let Nick Sirianni off the hook. He does more than CEO. And if you think he's supposed to just walk around and only focus on what game day head coaches focus on when they're CEOs and not calling plays, well then you're not ripping him enough. This is a Nick Sirianni offense. This is a Nick Sirianni problem. I think Brian Johnson has too much on his plate right now. He's probably more of a learning curve OC than a ready to win a Super Bowl OC. And I don't know what Sean Desai is. I'm starting to really wonder if he stinks too. I don't know. I'm not calling for anyone's job right now. I'm just saying I don't know what Sean Desai is, and I'm lower than I've ever been on him since watching what he does on a day-to-day basis. But Nick Sirianni is the issue with this offense. Not Brian Johnson, not Brian Johnson, not Brian Johnson. Nick Sirianni is the problem with this offense. Nick Sirianni is the problem with this offense. Brian Johnson is doing what Nick Sirianni wants him to do. It's a Nick Sirianni problem with the offense. I just want to make that very, very clear. So blame Brian Johnson. Don't like what he does. I don't either. A lot of this is because of what the head coach wants to do, what he believes in. You got to get more going in the middle of the field, in between the numbers. I don't get it. You see other teams. It's a copycat league, right? You see other teams as Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, get the ball out quickly and see what that can do to have an offense roll. Instead, it's so easy to defend some of their concepts when they're daring A.J. Brown and a defender to go out and run. They bracket guys off. Because you're not running the football, it makes it even easier. Long developing plays. We know that a lot of teams play with safeties back. So you got safeties back. You got less coverage because they play corners back as well nowadays. And then you're asking guys to go run where there's sort of coverage already. So they're long developing plays. You're asking your quarterback to sit there and stand in the pocket. And then you're asking these wide receivers to run towards safeties that are high, to run towards corners that are given some cushions. Like, well, is there a plan? Is there a plan, Nick? I don't know if there's a plan. It sucks. It sucks. It's so bad, it hurts. Okay? It's so bad, it hurts. All right, I really enjoyed that. There are so many more calls here, and I would like to maybe do this again because I really did enjoy just letting you guys speak and then reacting to your thoughts. So we'll see what ends up happening once again on Baby Watch. So if my baby does end up coming, then I won't be around for a couple days. If the baby is going to hold off a little longer, then I'll be here. It's just based off of when she wants to get out of that belly. All right, everybody, I love you to death. I greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.